Welcome back to another episode of Everyday English Chat, the place where we break down complicated life strategies into simple, everyday thinking habits anyone can use, while speaking English fluently and confidently. Today's journey is all about upgrading your mind, not with big dramatic changes, but with small mental tools. Bite-sized mental models that fit beautifully into ordinary life. If you've ever felt like your brain runs fast but not always in the right direction, or that you're thinking a lot but not thinking better, this is for you. Today, we are going to talk about why our thinking often misleads us, what actually improves clarity, why mental models are life's cheat codes, and how a few simple ones can completely upgrade your daily decisions. So let's begin. 1. The problem isn't that we don't think, it's that we don't think correctly. Most people assume thinking is automatic, like breathing, but your mind can breathe in polluted thoughts without you realizing it. We absorb habits from parents, friends, social media, culture, fears we don't recognize, assumptions we never question. And these old habits become the invisible filter everything passes through. For example, you see someone not reply to your message and think, they're ignoring me. You get one piece of criticism and conclude, I'm not good enough. You make a small mistake and tell yourself, I always mess things up. These aren't logical thoughts. These are untrained thoughts. And if we don't train them, the brain will always default to the familiar, even if the familiar is wrong. 2. The two systems in your brain. Let's start with one of the most important foundational mental models, System 1 versus System 2 thinking. You might have heard about it before, but here's the version that's relevant to real life. System 1, fast, automatic, emotional. It notices patterns, jumps to conclusions, reacts quickly. You need it to survive, but it can mislead you. System 2. Slow, intentional, logical. It questions, analyzes, and makes conscious choices. You need it to live wisely. The problem is most people live 90% of their lives in System 1, and that system is extremely biased. If you want to think better, you need to pause long enough for System 2 to enter the room. A single deep breath can be enough. A small pause before reacting is enough. A question like, is there another explanation, is enough. You don't need to become a philosopher. You just need to interrupt the autopilot. 3. The power of asking better questions. Here's a simple truth. Good thinking is just good questioning. Your brain is a search engine. Whatever question you ask, it will find an answer. Ask, why am I such a failure? Your brain will give you a list. Ask, what can I learn from this? Your brain will give you a completely different list. The question determines the outcome. So here are 3 everyday thinking upgrades you can start using today. Upgrade number 1. What evidence do I have for this? This destroys imaginary fears, assumptions, and emotional stories. Upgrade number 2. What would I tell a friend in this exact situation? This shifts you out of self-judgment and into clarity. Upgrade number 3. Will this matter in 6 months? This prevents overthinking tiny temporary problems. Small questions, huge mental clarity. 4. The 10-10-10 rule, one of the simplest life calculators. Let me introduce a mental model that works beautifully for emotional decisions. The 10-10-10 rule. When you're stuck, ask, how will I feel about this in 10 minutes? How will I feel about it in 10 days? How will I feel about it in 10 months? This model instantly pulls you out of emotional reactions and into the bigger picture. Someone is rude to you at work? 10-10-10 shows you. In 10 minutes, you'll be annoyed. In 10 days, you won't even care. In 10 months, you won't remember this person's face. Suddenly, peace. 5. The mental habit that changes lives. Reframing. Reframing is the art of choosing a better meaning. Life happens, we interpret. Two people can face the same situation and live two completely different realities simply because of interpretation. Let's take a common event. You make a mistake at work. Autopilot meaning, I'm stupid, I ruined everything. Reframed meaning, I'm learning, mistakes are data. Same event, two different lives. Reframing is not lying to yourself, it's choosing the meaning that leads to growth instead of self-destruction. And every smart thinker knows that your interpretation determines your future far more than the event itself. 6. The mental balcony technique. Imagine you're standing on a balcony looking down at your life. This mental model allows you to detach emotionally, observe clearly, see patterns, think from a higher place, reduce impulsivity. When emotions rise, climb the mental balcony and ask, what is actually happening here, and what is my mind adding on to it? Most problems shrink instantly when seen from above. It's a beautiful trick. Become the observer, not just the participant. 7. The premortem, planning like a strategist. Here's a mental model used by high-level CEOs, military planners, and elite teams. The premortem. Instead of asking, how can this succeed, you ask, if this fails, what would have caused it? And suddenly, your blind spots become visible. Planning a project, a trip, a business idea, a relationship decision. A quick premortem protects you from emotional optimism and replaces it with realistic foresight. Thinking better doesn't mean thinking negatively. It means thinking proactively. 8. The power of subtraction, mental decluttering. If you want to think better, here's one surprising truth. Better thinking usually comes from less thinking, not more. Your mind is like a room. If it's filled with random boxes, old memories, unprocessed emotions, notifications, and noise, clarity becomes impossible. The mental model here is subtraction. Instead of asking, what should I add? Ask, what can I remove? Remove toxic people. Remove unnecessary notifications. Remove tasks that don't matter. Remove comparisons. Remove imaginary rules. Remove stories that hurt you. A clean mind sees clearly. A cluttered mind overthinks in circles. 9. Models versus reality. Don't marry your map. This is one of the deepest ideas in good thinking. The map is not the territory. Your beliefs, assumptions, and mental models are just maps, not reality. A map can be helpful. A map can also be outdated, oversimplified, or completely wrong. Smart thinkers update their maps constantly. If something stops working, they replace the model. If new information appears, they adapt. If reality is different than expected, they adjust. Stubborn thinkers suffer. Flexible thinkers grow.
We're going to move deeper now, from foundational mental models into the biases, shortcuts, and invisible thinking traps that shape everyday life. These are the things that quietly run in the background of your mind without your permission. And once you learn to recognize them, you begin noticing the hidden patterns behind your choices, your stress, your relationships, and even your productivity. Understanding these biases doesn't just make you smarter. It makes you calmer. It makes you more accurate. And it saves you from a lot of unnecessary suffering. Let's begin with the one that affects nearly every decision you make. Confirmation bias. Your brain's favorite trap. Confirmation bias is the brain's habit of only noticing evidence that fits what you already believe. You think you're bad at something? your brain will amplify every mistake and ignore every success. You believe someone dislikes you? You'll interpret every neutral action as negative. You think a situation is hopeless? You'll notice only obstacles, never opportunities. This bias doesn't care about the truth. It only cares about feeling right. The antidote is simple but powerful. Look for disconfirming evidence. If you think a situation is impossible, ask, what if I'm wrong? What evidence goes against my belief? If you think someone dislikes you, ask, what evidence shows they might actually be neutral or supportive? When you do this, you pull your brain out of autopilot and force it into clarity. 2. Cognitive load. Why you overthink when you're tired. Thinking better isn't just about logic. It's also about mental energy. Your brain has a limited bandwidth. When it's overloaded, you make poor decisions, get emotional, and fall into quick assumptions. This is why you snap at someone at the end of the day. You eat junk food when stressed. You misunderstand texts when overwhelmed. You procrastinate when your mind is cluttered. The mental model here is simple. Reduce cognitive load, increase clarity. How? Keep your environment clean. Reduce open browser tabs. Limit multitasking. Outsource small decisions. Use lists, not memory. Build routines to eliminate unnecessary choices. A lighter mind thinks better. The spotlight effect. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you think. One of the most liberating mental models is understanding that people are far too busy thinking about themselves to judge you as much as you fear. That awkward thing you said, they forgot it in 5 minutes. The mistake you made, they barely noticed. The hair, the outfit, the small flaw, barely anyone cares. When you understand this, unnecessary anxiety dissolves. You stop performing for the imaginary audience, and you start thinking clearly, free from pressure. Life becomes lighter when you stop overestimating how much the world is watching. The availability bias. Why dramatic things feel more true. Your brain gives extra weight to whatever is easiest to recall. If you see news about plane crashes, you believe flying is dangerous, even though data says it's extremely safe. If you remember a painful breakup, you may believe relationships always end badly. If you've recently seen failure, you might assume risk is dangerous. Your mind likes vivid stories more than accurate statistics. The fix is ask, what's the base rate? What happens on average in similar situations? This simple question pulls you away from emotional thinking and into realistic thinking. The halo effect. Why first impressions blind us. Humans tend to judge the whole person based on one trait. If someone looks confident, we assume they're smart. If someone is attractive, we assume they're kind. If someone speaks well, we assume they're competent. But the halo effect is extremely misleading. A charismatic person can still be unreliable. A quiet person can still be brilliant. A friendly person can still be manipulative. Better thinkers avoid drawing full conclusions from limited traits. They pause. They observe. They gather more data before deciding who someone really is. The second-order thinking. Always look beyond the immediate result. Most people think only about the first consequence. You ate unhealthy food, it tastes good now. You procrastinate, you relax now. You avoid a tough conversation, you feel relieved now. But second-order thinkers ask, and then what? Eat unhealthy food, feel good now, feel terrible later. Procrastinate, relax now, panic later. Avoid conversation, relief now, resentment later. Life becomes dramatically easier when you stop choosing short-term comfort that creates long-term pain. Second-order thinking is the difference between impulse and wisdom. The empty boat mental model. Don't take things personally. This model comes from Zen philosophy and tells a simple story. If you're rowing on a quiet lake and an empty boat crashes into you, you don't get angry. You just push it away and move on. But if a boat with a person inside crashes into you, you react emotionally, even though the crash is the same. The truth is, most people in life are empty boats. They act out of their own stress, mood, insecurity, or ignorance, not because of you. When someone insults you, when someone judges you, when someone acts rudely, most of the time, it's not personal. It's their own unprocessed life spilling over. When you realize this, you give emotional freedom. You stop internalizing other people's storms. The two truths model. This is a subtle but powerful idea. Two opposites can be true at the same time. You can be confident and insecure. You can be tired and grateful. You can love someone and be angry at them. You can be strong and still need support. Better thinkers don't collapse life into either-or thinking. They hold multiple truths together without confusion. It makes you more compassionate, more accurate, and more emotionally balanced. The trap of emotional predictions. Humans are terrible at predicting how they'll feel in the future. We imagine heartbreak lasting forever. We imagine success solving all problems. We imagine embarrassment destroying us. And we imagine new things making us fully happy. This is called affective forecasting bias, and it lies to you constantly. Emotions fade faster than you think. Pain becomes normal sooner than you expect. Success feels ordinary after a while. When you understand this, you stop overreacting to emotional predictions and start making decisions based on reality instead of fear. The personal rulebook, your hidden source of stress. Everyone carries an invisible rulebook. People should treat me this way. Life should reward me if I work hard. My friends should always be supportive. My plans should go the way I want. Things should be fair. These rules aren't real. They're expectations, and expectations create suffering. The mental model here is simple. Trade rules for preferences. Instead of people must treat me kindly, say, I prefer kindness, but if they don't give it, I can still stay calm. Instead of life should be fair, say, life is unpredictable, but I will adapt. The fewer rigid rules you carry, the clearer your thinking becomes. The fridge light illusion. Why you think you're self-aware when you're not. When you open your fridge, the light turns on. So you assume the light is always on, even when the door is closed. The brain works the same way. You only see your thoughts when you pay attention to them. You assume you're self-aware, but most of your mind runs in darkness. To think better, you need to build real self-awareness, not assumed self-awareness. How? Journaling, mindfulness, honest reflection, asking trusted friends for feedback, watching your automatic reactions. Better thinking starts with knowing what's actually in the fridge. The neutral middle. The space where good decisions are made. Most bad decisions are made from extremes. Extreme anger, extreme excitement, extreme fear, extreme sadness. But clarity lives in the neutral middle, the calm middle ground. This is why the best decisions come after a night of sleep, a walk, a meal, a pause, a moment of distance. The mental model is simple. Never make permanent decisions in temporary emotions. If a thought is intense, let it sit overnight. If a reaction is strong, wait until your mind softens. If a decision feels urgent, slow down. It's rarely as urgent as it feels. Wisdom is rarely loud. It appears when your mind is still enough to hear it. The choose the harder right habit.
We're going deeper now into everyday thinking. How to reduce chaos, maintain emotional clarity, make better decisions, and build a mind that works with you instead of against you. This part focuses on practical tools, the kind you can use while sitting at your desk, walking outside, or dealing with everyday frustrations. Number 1. The principle of mental minimalism. Your mind becomes sharper when your life becomes simpler. Mental minimalism isn't about living with fewer things, it's about living with fewer mental tabs open. We overwhelm ourselves with too many goals, too many commitments, too many fears, too many tasks, too many notifications, too many opinions, too many comparisons. Your brain is not wired for infinite input. Better thinking comes from fewer priorities, more focus, and less noise. Ask yourself, what can I remove that I won't miss? What stress comes from clutter rather than reality? Every small subtraction adds clarity. Number 2, the ladder of inference, how your mind jumps to wrong conclusions. This model explains why we misread situations so easily. Here's how the mind usually works. You observe something, you select a few details, you interpret them, you add assumptions, you draw a conclusion, you act on that conclusion. Most misunderstandings happen because steps 2 to 5 happen instantly and invisibly. Someone uses a short tone, you assume they're angry. Someone forgets to reply, you assume they don't care. Someone acts distant, you assume you did something wrong. To think better, go down the ladder instead of up. Ask, what did I actually observe? What facts do I have? What assumptions am I filling in? This single habit can save friendships, relationships, jobs, and emotional peace. Number 3, context blindness, the danger of judging without the full picture. Humans often judge situations without context. A coworker snaps, they're rude. A friend cancels, they're unreliable. A person seems distant, they don't like me. But people carry invisible loads you don't see. Overwhelm, exhaustion, personal crises, family problems, financial stress, health issues. Better thinkers don't jump to conclusions. They remember, there is always more context than I can see. And that simple thought softens your reactions. Number 4, the 3 buckets model. Control, influence, accept. This model instantly reduces anxiety and overthinking. Every situation in life fits into one of 3 buckets. Bucket 1, things you can control. Your behavior, your effort, your habits, your reactions. Bucket 2, things you can influence. Other people's behavior, opportunities, outcomes, but only partially. Bucket 3, things you must accept. Weather, past mistakes, other people's choices, unexpected events. Most people waste their mental energy on bucket 3. Better thinkers direct their energy to bucket 1 and bucket 2. Ask yourself, what bucket does this belong to? What's the smartest action for this bucket? It simplifies everything. Number 5, the if-then thinking pattern. This is a powerful tool for preventing impulsive behavior. Instead of reacting emotionally, set mental rules. If I feel overwhelmed, then I pause for 1 minute. If I'm unsure, then I gather more information. If I'm angry, then I wait before responding. If I'm tempted to procrastinate, then I do 5 minutes first. These tiny pre-decisions reduce chaos and turn your mind into a predictable ally. Good thinking is often about removing the element of surprise from your own emotions. Number 6, the 80% rule. Don't aim for perfection, aim for progress.
Perfection demands 100% and punishes anything less. Progress demands about 80%, a healthy, human, realistic level. Most high achievers don't think perfectly. They think productively. They aim for clarity, not perfection. Consistency, not heroism. Direction, not flawless execution. Thinking improves when you stop trying to impress an imaginary audience and start trying to simply move forward. Number 7. The future self-filter. Consult the older, wiser you. Whenever you're stuck, stressed, or confused, imagine your older self, the version of you who has seen more, survived more, learned more. Ask, what would my 10 years older self tell me? That version of you doesn't panic over small problems, doesn't seek approval, doesn't react emotionally, knows what truly matters. This filter cuts through temporary emotions and reveals long-term wisdom. Number 8. The tool of relabeling. Your mind changes when you change the words. Words shape thinking. For example, instead of, I'm anxious, say, my body is preparing for something important. Instead of, I'm overwhelmed, say, I'm juggling a lot, let me prioritize. Instead of, I failed, say, I learned something useful. Relabeling doesn't fake reality. It reframes it so your brain works with you, not against you. Number 9. Mental simulation. The strategy of practicing in your mind. Great athletes use this. Great speakers use this. Great leaders use this. Mental simulation means rehearsing situations in your imagination. A difficult conversation, a job interview, a new skill, a stressful event, a daily habit. When you visualize yourself handling it calmly and clearly, your brain treats it like real practice. Your mind becomes familiar with the situation, and fear dissolves. Number 10. The one-sentence rule. Simplify the problem. Most problems become impossible because we complicate them. The one-sentence rule forces clarity. If you had to describe your problem in one sentence, what would it be? This removes the emotional noise and reveals the real issue. For example, I don't know what I'm doing with my life might become, I'm scared of choosing wrong. I'm stressed about work might become, I'm taking on too much. I'm unhappy in this relationship might become, I feel unseen. Once the real problem is named, solutions appear. Number 11. The one-person thought experiment. This model helps you escape group pressure, comparison, and fear of judgment. Ask, if there was only one person in the world watching me right now, and that person truly wished the best for me, what would I do? Suddenly, the fear of embarrassment disappears, the noise of society disappears, the pressure of expectations disappears. You think more honestly. You choose more authentically. This model brings you back to yourself. Number 12. The information diet. Protecting your mental input. Your thinking is shaped by what you consume. Negative news, toxic conversations, dramatic social media, all of these inject unnecessary stress into your system. A good thinker becomes a gatekeeper. Consume fewer opinions, avoid mentally heavy content before bed, follow people who make you wiser, take breaks from constant scrolling, choose long-form content over short dopamine bursts. Your mind becomes what you feed it. Number 13, the emotional thermostat. Regulate, don't react. Your emotions fluctuate throughout the day, but you can set a thermostat, a baseline level of calmness you keep returning to. Whenever something pushes you above or below this level, the goal isn't to react, it's to regulate. This might mean breathing, walking, pausing, grounding, journaling, drinking water, stepping away. The point is, Don't let external events decide your internal temperature. Better thinkers know how to cool themselves down before thinking. Number 14, the energy before logic rule. You cannot think clearly when you're hungry, exhausted, dehydrated, overstimulated, sleep-deprived, in pain. We often try to solve emotional or logical problems when our body is in survival mode. Before asking your mind for clarity, check your energy. Am I tired, or is the problem actually big? Am I hungry, or am I actually irritated? Am I drained, or am I truly confused? Most mental problems shrink when the body is cared for. Number 15, the reverse regret tool. One of the most powerful decision tools is imagining regret.
Slowing down the mind. You know what's funny? Most people don't have a thinking problem. They have a rushing problem. We think we make decisions based on logic, facts, and clarity. But we mostly make decisions in momentum. So in this final part, let's talk about slowing down your internal speed long enough to actually think. Here's a practical way. Pause, label, choose. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, annoyed, pressured, or confused, pause. Literally stop for 2 seconds. 2 seconds is enough to interrupt your brain's autopilot. Label what's happening. Okay, I'm anxious. I'm irritated. I'm rushing. I'm overthinking this. I'm making this personal. Naming the feeling pulls it out of the dark and puts it on the table. Choose the next move. Don't react. Don't obey the emotion. Choose. That tiny moment of awareness often doubles the quality of your decision. Because thinking better doesn't start with genius. It starts with noticing. Section 2, the 10-10-10 model. This is one of the most powerful mental models ever created by Susie Welch, and it's stupidly simple. Whenever you're stuck between two choices, ask yourself, how will this decision feel in 10 minutes? How will it feel in 10 months? How will it feel in 10 years? It stretches your thinking beyond urgency. Example, you want to quit a project because you're tired. 10 minutes, you'll feel relieved. 10 months, you might regret stopping. 10 years, it probably won't matter at all. Or when deciding whether to start a new skill. 10 minutes, you'll feel lazy doing nothing. 10 months, you'll wish you started. 10 years, it could change your entire life's direction. This model does one beautiful thing. It protects you from short-term emotions and reveals long-term truth. Section 3, thinking environment. Your mind is a room. Your mind is not just a container. It's a room, and your thoughts are people entering that room. If your room has bad lighting, clutter, noise, and chaos, even the smartest idea suffocates. So here are 5 rules to design a better thinking environment. Reduce cognitive noise. Too many open tabs, too many notifications, too many tasks equals bad thinking. Create a friction-free space. Want to read more? Put the book where you sit. Want to think more deeply? Remove distractions from your desk. Give your brain time to wander. Humans get their best ideas while walking, showering, or doing nothing. Boredom is not your enemy. It's your brain warming up. Protect solitude. Thinking needs silence the way plants need sunlight. Stop multitasking. Your brain switches. It doesn't share. Your thoughts reflect your environment. Change the room, change the thinking. Section 4. The inversion habit. Instead of thinking, how do I succeed? Ask, how do I fail? Invert the question. Charlie Munger and many great thinkers use this mental model because it reveals blind spots instantly. Example, how do I ruin my health? Don't sleep, eat trash,
sit all day, stress constantly. Now, just do the opposite. Or, how do I ruin my morning? Wake up late, scroll immediately, skip breakfast, rush everything. Again, do the opposite. Inversion removes illusions and exposes reality. It's thinking from the back door, and the back door is always clearer. Section 5. Getting out of your own head. Overthinking happens when you believe your thoughts are accurate. Better thinking happens when you start to question your inner narrator. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this fear or fact? Is this me or my mood talking? What would I tell a friend in the same situation? Your brain is not always honest. It doesn't care about truth. It cares about comfort and survival. To think better, you must learn how to challenge the narrator. Not silence it, not ignore it, just challenge it. Section 6. The High Leverage Questions Kit. You don't need more answers, you need better questions. Here are high leverage questions that improve thinking instantly. What is the simplest explanation? What outcome do I actually want? What am I assuming that might be wrong? What would this look like if it were easy? If I could only do one thing today, which one matters most? Will this matter in 5 years? What do I control here and what do I not? Good questions are the parents of good decisions. Section 7. Building a thinker's identity. This is the final step. Better thinking becomes automatic when you start to see yourself as someone who pauses, questions, notices, reflects, evaluates, and chooses deliberately, not impulsively. You don't need expert-level intelligence, just an identity shift. I am someone who thinks before I act. That is enough to upgrade your entire life, because the quality of your thinking is the quality of your future. Thinking better is not about being smarter. It's about being more aware, more intentional, and more aligned with your values. It's about creating space between stimulus and response. It's about asking better questions, designing better environments, and slowing your mind down enough to hear your own wisdom. If you apply even one of these models consistently, your life will begin to make more sense, and your decisions will start shaping a future you'll be proud of. Thank you for listening to this series on how to think better of Everyday English Chat. Stay curious, stay reflective, and keep thinking with purpose. Kindly like, share, and subscribe to our channel to speak English fluently and confidently. Have a good time.